And welcome to episode 19 of the Tuesday Talk IU Athletics podcast. Joined by Director of Athletic Communications Larry Dillman and Student Assistant Connor Kikowski. This is Sports Information Director Andy Alvarez, bringing you results and news from this past week's action and previewing the upcoming week in Immaculata Athletics. The Immaculata men's and women's basketball teams and the men's and women's indoor track and field teams competed this week. Basketball was on Thursday against Marywood and Saturday against Newman, while track was on Saturday at the Alvernia Plex Shootout. The basketball games were moved from Wednesday to Thursday due to last week's snowstorm. The men's and women's teams were split against Marywood, with Immaculata earned a sweep over Newman on Saturday. Men's team fell to Marywood here. Women's team won up in overtime at Marywood. The women's track and field team saw a few IU program records fall as well this past weekend. This week in women's basketball will host St. Elizabeth on Wednesday, while the men's team go to St. Elizabeth. Then both teams will be on the road Saturday up at Gwynedd Mercy for the Atlantic East Conference doubleheader up there. Indoor track will go to Ursinus College to compete in the Frank Colden Invitational at the Floyd's Bake Center there. Nice indoor facility. We will be joined later in the show by our guest this week, Jayden Williams of the men's basketball team. And he's also going to be a member of the men's track and field team in the spring, I believe. Let's get started. You guys got anything exciting recently? Anything new? I know, Connor, you attended the SAC meeting at the conference on Sunday. How'd that go?
Yeah, it was really fun. Me and Natalie Dodd, who's we had on the show a couple of times. She's a SAC secretary. Went down to Newman for the Atlantic East SAC meeting, talked to other campus about ideas that are going on around, working on some collaboration events to come up with this spring. So it was a good time. A lot of busy times ahead for definitely for all of Division Three, but definitely a lot of informative talks there this weekend.
Let's go get things started looking back at this past week's action. Women's basketball extended their winning streak up to 8 victories with wins over Marywood and Newman. On Thursday at Marywood, Immaculata was pushed by a very capable and hungry Marywood team. They prevailed 73 to 62 in overtime. Carly Coleman was once again halfway to a quadruple double. She hit it with 23 points, 13 rebounds, five of those rebounds on the offensive end, 6 assists, 6 steals. So it was her 12th double-double of the season. Immaculata outscored Marywood 13 to 2 in overtime. Started off by Livia Etor three-pointer that came via a steal off the opening jump ball by Carly Coleman. And then Sabrina Little with a great steal and driving layup, plus the and one shot afterwards, drawing the foul. Immaculata scored 27 points off turnovers, had more offensive rebounds than defensive rebounds in that game. So that was a big win. And then Saturday, unfortunately, that was a tough trip to Marywood, where they got back close to 1 in the morning by the time they got back from Marywood up there, and had a short turnaround. Only one day, really not a real rest day or anything in between the two games. They came back on Saturday for an Atlantic East Conference matchup with Newman. And for some reason, Newman always comes to play when they play here at Alumni Hall against Immaculata, and Newman brought their game. Immaculata was able to prevail 82 to 72 final. Riley Cassidy detonated for a career high 27 points, shooting 6 for 8 from three-point range. Carly Coleman had 15 points, 11 of 12 from the free throw line. Kira Benoit was crucial off the bench with 14 points, 6 rebounds, 4 being offensive rebounds, and 4 assists. They outscored Newman's bench. Immaculata's bench outscored Newman's bench 25 to 10. Despite being down 23 to 10 after the first quarter, they outscored Newman 27 to 9 in the second quarter. Carly Coleman was named Atlantic East Conference Defensive Player of the Week for the second consecutive week and the fourth time this season. So that's a great honor there for Carly. Riley Cassidy earned a selection to the weekly honor roll for Immaculata. Huge three-pointers like that from Riley in a minute and 22 takes that game from 65 to 74-66. So that was a huge moment for her and the women's basketball team. And you could just feel the energy in the gym. And you got your alumni over there. You got Tessa and Abby Boyer, Tessa Liverard-Jolie and Abby Boyer over there going wild on the sideline, enjoying every moment of that too. So that was great. It's great to see they get the support like that, the families and everything. They'll be up Wednesday night. They host St. Elizabeth here an Atlantic East Conference game. It's another really quick, aggressive team in St. Elizabeth. So that should be a good game here at Alumni Hall. Hope the fans will come out and support. It's National Girls and Women's Sports Day, so there'll be some things going on at that game with the in support of National Girls and Women's Sports Day. So we hope to get a big crowd here and really back the Mighty Max. What did you guys think about the women's basketball team this weekend?
It was some great games all around, honestly. The Marywood game definitely showed how they can battle in overtime. It was 13 to 2 in the final frame, just giving the Pacers absolutely no room to operate on the road. Tough road trip up to Scranton, and Carly Coleman again halfway to a quadruple double. Absolutely insane. She's really up in her steals count too. She's had a bunch of steals lately. She's now averaging 2.8 per game on the season. It's just under three is pretty impressive. And Kira Benoit against Newman and Sabrina Little as well. Both were crucial despite them just being freshmen. Shows that doesn't matter if you're a young player or one of the veterans, that everyone's ready to step up. And then, of course, Riley Cassidy against Newman just shot the lights out. It was crazy to see because she had some struggles early in the season, but she's finding her groove now. And I'm sitting at the table with Connor, and I'm calling for him for the stats, and I'm like, Riley again and again and again. I was like, oh my gosh, man. So definitely great. That first quarter, probably just an anomaly. And then after the second quarter, it was looking good. And they kept Emily DuPont in check from Newman. They fouled her out. And once she fouled out, that was kind of the nail in the coffin there. So good AEC wins, get the sweep over Newman, still undefeated in conference. And we'll see how they do on Wednesday against St. E's.
Yeah, some very fun games this week for women's basketball. Newman was the energy in Alumni Hall on Saturday was incredible for both games. But looking at that Marywood game, especially in overtime, which I don't think the women's team has been in overtime yet this year. I think this was their first time. I mean, Olivia Etor set the momentum early with that big three-pointer just to take the 63 to 60 lead. And you had Sabrina Little who had to steal the layup, and then she got fouled. So then she had the and one, so that was pretty much good. But yeah, that big 13 to 2 run was huge. So they gave them no room to make any moves, Marywood. And then looking at Newman, I mean, Riley Cassidy just was incredible with the 27 points, and Kira Benoit was huge off the bench. She had a lot of good steals and was assisting big time, but definitely was a slow start for a women's team, but that's okay. I mean, they fought all the way back. I think that's been the common theme this year for our women's team was the resilience and the fight to just stay in games, and that's what led them to propel this week.
I think one thing that's just huge is you get a performance. You didn't get the start you wanted, but then you made some switches. You get Sabrina Little coming off the bench, one of your freshmen, coming a big part of this team. A lot of energy. Kira Benoit. I mean, I think that's when one of the things that's been key for this team has been that little X factor that you weren't expecting. You knew they were possibilities, that they were going to be good players, but as freshmen, you didn't necessarily expect them to step into these roles and just come in and be game influencers like that. And the last two Saturdays, Kira Benoit has gotten into the game and has provided an instant spark of energy, strong play, and getting results. And I think that's huge for this team going forward as you get later in season. You need as many pieces as you can and depth if you're going to compete because as you can see, these teams aren't running away. Newman may not have had the best record coming to this game, but they brought their energy and they brought an effort and they brought a game. Same thing with Marywood the other night. Marywood's lost a couple games in overtime now, but they're proven they're not going to go away. St. Elizabeth was a big fight the first time you played them too. So, and obviously Centenary's Patricia Davis is an amazing player. So you're going to face some good teams, and you have to go to Marymount set. So things are looking good and they're trending the right way. But it's going to be some big games coming, and we hope to have the fans here for the home games, bring in the support, and hope the women's team can keep things going and head in that right direction.
All right, let's switch gears over to men's basketball. Men's basketball got a split on the week, falling to Marywood in a tight one before defeating Newman. Against Marywood, it was a 73 to 70 final. Dylan Cruz led the team with 20 points, and he had 12 of 14 at the foul line. And it was a block party for Christian Chambers. He had 6 blocks. He had 6 blocks, which actually ties the IU program record for a single game with Tyler Tillery, who actually set that mark twice. Marywood went up by 21 in the second half before the Mighty Macs stormed back and tied the game on a Deuce Jackson layup. Unfortunately, the game appeared to be going to overtime, but a foul call literally at the buzzer gave the Pacers 3 free throws with 1 second left. One of the Pacers players attempted a step back three. They called a late whistle, and there was really nothing the refs could do. They went to the replay monitor to check it, and you really can't undo a foul call like that. So the Marywood player went to the foul line, knocked down all 3 shots, and that was essentially the end of that. But they bounced back on a short turnaround against Newman. Christian Chambers with a team high 16 points. Deuce Jackson 10 and 13 double double. Robbie Conyer with a season high 9 points off the bench. And Christian Chambers continued his strong defensive play with 3 more blocks, so he averaged 4.5 for the week. Similar to the women outscoring Newman's bench 25-10, the men also outscored Newman's bench 25-10. The Mighty Macs, they kept Dante Dupriest in check. He is Newman's best player and the reigning MVP of the conference. We were kind of keeping him in check a little bit, but DJ Earl for the Knights went nuclear with 35 points, even though Immaculata got the win. Christian Chambers was absolutely on fire in the second half. He hit 4 of his 5 triples. In the second half, Dylan Cruz iced the game with the last 7 points, all at the free throw line. Christian Chambers was named to the AEC Weekly Honor Roll, and their next game, they got St. E's up in Morristown, New Jersey on Wednesday at 7 o'clock. Now, a little funny story about the Saturday game, and I told you guys off camera. And what was funny was, so we're setting up the game on Saturday, and Robbie Conyer was in the gym by himself. He was just practicing, taking some shots or whatever. And I was talking to him for a minute, and jokingly, I was like, "Hey man, I need a solid 10 from you today. I need 10 points." And he kind of just laughed. He's like, "I'll do my best." He gave me 9. And I saw him after the game in the hallway. I looked at him and I'm like, "You almost had it." And we kind of just laughed, and I'm like, "Good job, man." So I was watching throughout the game, and I'm like, is he actually going to give me the 10 that I told him to? But he and the rest of the team did a great job taking down a tough team like Newman. Still very much in play for that 4-5 playing game at the moment. Just got to get some wins here on the road. And guys, men's basketball turning it around despite a really tough start to the season. And the biggest question now is they have 3 straight road games coming up, and they have yet to record a win on the road. So that's going to be key.
So yeah, they definitely haven't won a game on the road. So they beat St. Elizabeth in here in Alumni Hall, which too they have on Wednesday. So hopefully they can do it again at St. Elizabeth. But yeah, just we had Jayden on the show, so you're gonna hear from him a little later. He had 5 assists in that big win over Newman. I know he had a couple of assists to those Chambers on 3 throws, which was huge in this win over Newman. But yeah, they definitely had some like toughness in men's basketball. So I think that Marywood game definitely set a fire under their bodies a little bit to go into Newman and hopefully get a tough game in there. And it was just fun to see. And like you think about like everything that's happened, like it hasn't been like exactly the year they wanted, but they always have some bright spots in there. And as we're in the second rotation now, they're definitely showing those bright spots. And hopefully they continue to do that as we go further down the road here.
Yeah, it was definitely a good couple games there for the men's team. Thursday night, Dylan Cruz with the 20 points, going 12 for 14 from the free throw line is amazing for these days, and it's good to see them have success. Christian Chambers just just saying not in my house or not today, kind of the quote the Dikembe Mutombo commercial there. He was just swatting shots. That was a lot of fun to see that. I mean, I remember being here when the record was set before, when Ty Tillery had 6 when I was an intern. So it was that same type of mode where I'm not going to allow that. And then even like we talked about Jayden Williams on Saturday, he got a couple blocks there on Dante DePriest because Deuce Jackson was doing a good job of guarding him down low, taking things away. And I think Saturday, we apologize for those of us on the broadcast for the little bit of technical difficulties we had that day with the broadcast, but we fought through those. And obviously, I had another broadcaster on with me. First time was great having assistance on that broadcast. But always fun to have a game like that when you get a doubleheader. Your teams get a sweep that day, and the men fought to the end of that game and were able to defeat Newman here. And you see good things. A lot of good things are happening on that floor. Once again, you're getting guys, Jeremiah Alexander. You're getting contributions out of Deuce Jackson, Robbie Conyer. It's not just Chambers, Cruz, Sepo, the ones you expect the big games from. You're getting a lot from a lot of different players, and they're coming in and giving you big minutes in games when you need them. And going down the stretch, I just see possibility of some more success. I think they're looking forward to getting a shot to go back up to Marywood in another, week or two there. You get another shot at the Pacers. Obviously, you got to go to, you can have Marymount coming in here. You can have Centenary coming in here as well. So I know those are going to be big games as they try to compete. And hopefully, they could get in there and try to be fighting for the fourth and fifth spot for that playing game and just get in the tournament. You can't go anywhere if you don't get in. And so if you get in, you never know what can happen. And I think they're showing great signs of development and moving forward. And I think expect big things from them the rest of the season.
We are switching gears now to talk something other than basketball, and that is indoor track and field, who were back in action after a little bit of a hiatus. They completed back at Alvarenga the site of their first meet at the Plex Shootout. I was there for it. So on the men's side, the distance medley relay team was the first event of Nick Hyland, Alexander Wilson, Kendall Budlow, and Jason Cantorino, who clocked in at 14:34.30. I ran a personal record in indoor for the 5,000 meters, 18:04.49. Jayden Barksdale in the 60-meter race had 7.26 seconds. I believe that wasn't just short of his record, but still an overall performance. Again, dealing with a lot of the weather and everything. So training's been a little chaotic this first week back. In the throws, Colin Corky and Thomas Connolly held down field events, shot put, and weight throw. Corky threw a shot put at 12.4 meters and 12.83 meters in the weight throw. Connolly 8.09 meters in the shot put and 6.59 meters in the weight throw. On the women's side, Aubrey Donahue finished second in the 3,000-meter race with another IU program record time of 10:58.93 and finished eighth in the mile with a personal record of 5:33.98. Maggie Friend broke her own IU record in the weight throw at 8.47 meters, and the distance medley of Maddie McBride, Kim Alvarez, Molly Wazalenko, and Brianne Dymick finished sixth with a time of 16:22.07. Jackie Leone, 17th in the mile at 5:56.95 and 13th in the 800 meters at 2:36.23. Aubrey Bickford in the pole vault finished with 2.7 meters. That was good for 12th place. And Jules Frederick clocked in at 8.90 in the shot put for a 22nd finish. So, like I said, training has been a little chaotic these first couple of weeks. So it was definitely another rust buster meet. But we have another race coming up here on Saturday against your Sinus. So hopefully, I mean, it's actually not bad out today. I was going to try and run outside today for the first time since we've been back. It's still cold, but like 30's been looking like shorts weather compared to what it has been. So I'm going to brave the elements today. But overall, not bad results this weekend for the track and field team.
You wear shorts all the time anyway, Connor. So I don't think
Yeah,
the weather really holds you back.
I was gonna say.
I can't stand getting hot. I can deal with the cold a little bit, but I can't deal with the heat.
That was a huge track meet. I mean, a lot of teams, the results didn't come through to about 10:30 at night. And the results paid, the PDF we get with all the result files, we could work off of the live results through the timing company. But when you finally get that PDF, the PDF was 105 pages total. It was an impressive meet. I remember communicating later on in the morning on Sunday with Coach Murray, and he goes, "That was probably one of the longest meets I've been to, in a while." So that seemed there must have been a lot going on. That's not a real big building, the Plex, and we do appreciate you hustling back here to help us out with the basketball games, though, Connor. But it looks like obviously you haven't competed much, but it looks like you guys were able to compete, get some good runs in, get some good throws in. And, a couple of people were able to set records. Obviously Aubrey, she's at that level in those certain races that she runs that she's just really good at them. But it looks like you guys had some good times, and it's about building towards as JLo told us last week, it's like building towards the outdoor season with the indoor season. In each one, you hope to improve.
Yeah, when I wrote the recap for the men's side, I saw that 105-page document, and I was like, nah, man, you gotta be kidding me right now. But it wasn't as bad as I thought it was. You just gotta filter in the word Immaculata, and I was like, okay, that's better. Because it was just, yeah, so many teams to look at, and then you had some of it was preliminaries, and then the final, and then it was giving you the heats and the sections and the flights, and I'm like, okay. Made it a lot better. And hopefully you guys can get back into action this week with the Frank Holden Invitational. I mean, this was just, as you said, like a Rustbuster 2.0. So hopefully you guys can get back to training, and maybe the weather will be above 32 degrees one of these days. Who knows?
It's coming. I saw 40 next Tuesday. It's coming.
Well, Punxsutawney Phil says otherwise. So
I did hear what Punxsutawney Phil said today. I heard what he said.
He needs to stop seeing that shadow. We don't need any more of this. So I guess now would be a good time to bring in our guest for this week from the men's basketball team. Jayden Williams will have him on, and he'll be with us after this quick break on the Tuesday Talk IU Athletics podcast. And welcome back to the Tuesday Talk IU Athletics podcast. We are joined by men's basketball guard Jayden Williams. Welcome to the show, Jayden.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Big week for you guys last week. Couple of tough conference games. Getting a big win on Saturday over Newman, the defending Atlantic East Conference champions. Let's get started with how did you first get into basketball, and what made you fall in love with the game?
It's kind of funny that basketball wasn't always my first love for sport. It was always football, but like always had an interest for basketball because like I was born an athlete. My family was an athlete, so I was always around it. But like with basketball, I was just a competitor. I love how the game was played. It was fun and it just brought me joy. So like that's what it was. That would make me fall in love with it.
Jayden, what led you to choose Immaculata for your college basketball career? I know you're like local, so it's not too far away. Was that one of the leading factors in your choice?
Oh yeah, most definitely. Especially just coming out of a small 1A school out of high school, it wasn't really a lot of opportunities out there for me. It's like I give a special shout out for Coach J. Hyman. He gave me an opportunity and I just took it, ran with it. Big shout outs to him.
How has your role evolved on the team since you arrived here at Immaculata, now as a junior on the team?
My freshman and sophomore years, I didn't play as much, but I was definitely being developed into like the situation I am now. Like for my freshman and sophomore year, I was more like on the guy on the bench, helping the guys out that was playing in practice. Now, like my junior year, them 2 years helped me, gave me the experience to do what I do now. I'm more like an unspoken leader. Well, kind of a spoken leader too. I'm not a captain, but like I feel like a lot of people rely on me to play good and be a big part of this team. And I just kind of took that as an opportunity to look at it. I know Coach Kyle depends on me a lot to be that guy to keep guys motivated, help them be better. So I feel like that's kind of what my role is.
Yeah, I think that was pretty evident on Saturday because in those big minutes late in that game, you were one of the guys the team seemed to really want on that floor. And you brought a lot of energy and everything along that lines, and you even got a big block on the reigning MVP of the conference out there in Dante DePriest. So
Yeah.
that was a great moment to see, how you developed into that role.
Yeah, most definitely. That's definitely what it is. Like I had guys like John Flood, he's like a basically like a mentor of mine. Played with him, basically taught me the ropes, and I just followed them. And then like I look at him like that's like a big friend of mine. So I definitely respect him. The things he showed me allowed me to do the things I do on the court now. So yeah, major props to John Flood.
So you guys had a big win on Saturday against Newman, obviously reigning champs of the AEC. So how did you guys succeed in that game, or what were some of the points of emphasis that Coach Kyle had for you guys?
Looking back at it, because before the game started, we only had a day of scout or practice for that game. But looking back at it, we know we could beat that team. Like when we played them beginning of the conference, we lost, but like we as a team, we all knew we could win that game. We can beat that team. So mainly we just focused on getting rebounds and being physical. That's what it really came down to. We were physical. We out rebounded them. We knew what we had to do. Obviously, ain't nothing was wrong with our offense. We stopped settling for shots, started getting in the paint, and that's what it came down to. We followed the scout, the game plan, and we came out with the win. And even just as a team, we all had the mentality that like we're gonna get this win. We can win these games. We've been on a kind of have a hot streak, even though we just off a 1-win streak. But I feel like we're rolling right now. Like I feel like nobody can kind of stop us right now at the moment. So that was a big win for us.
What goals do you have for yourself and the team for the rest of the season?
A goal that I kind of got for myself is that to continue leading the assists in the conference and conference stats. I kind of saw that and I could lead the assists. I just want to continue to do that and maybe even get more assists, lead that margin by a lot more. And for a team, we would just want to keep stacking Ds, keep stacking wins, and get deep as far as we can. Because a lot of people look down on us like we don't really belong to be where we at. But I feel like that's false. We work hard as a team all year, even with the circumstances, but we definitely get deep and far to keep rolling even into the next year. Like we don't look at this year as it being lost. The year just started. A lot think of us. Yeah, we definitely want to win some more games.
Yeah, speaking of assists, that was a nice little dish there to Jeremiah Alexander for that for the jam in that game there.
Yeah.
It was a fun play.
Just by sitting on the sidelines, obviously statting the games, I can see that your team definitely has a lot of personality and just a lot of great energy throughout the locker room and on the sidelines. So who would you say is got some of the bigger personalities on the team, maybe like just leadership besides yourself, and maybe who's like one of the funnier guys on the team, or just who are some of the guys with the big personalities?
The funniest, that's kind of hard. There's a lot of funny guys on this team. It's definitely me, but I can't really say it myself. So I'm gonna say my teammate, my big man, Deuce Jackson. He's a character. He's definitely a character, but it's a lot of characters on the team though. But he definitely gets me to laugh the most out of everybody. Even in practice sometimes, like we both joke around. So he's definitely a character. But like there's a lot of leaders on the team that I know they can be great leaders. They just haven't really come out yet. Like Scooch, or y'all know him as Jeremiah Alexander. He's a quiet leader, but he does teach the guys what he know here and there. He does know what he's talking about. Like he wants to win. Other than that, then you got Dylan Cruz, fifth year senior, with his experience teaching down and the young guys a lot. So yeah, it's a lot of leaders that I would like them to lead a little bit more too. Like anybody, even the team, all the team, a little bit of knowledge that they know, just apply it to the game, and I feel like that'll make us way better.
We'll give you your props too. We'll give you your props.
So to wrap things up here, what does the future hold for you, Jayden? Where do you see yourself in the next few years, on or even off the court?
Where do I see myself? It's kind of hard right now, but I kind of got an idea of what I want to do. After college, I don't know too much about on the court. If I get an opportunity to play somewhere like pro, then that's fine and all. But off the court, I keep wanting to stay with sports. I can see myself coaching. Like I do a little assistant coaching in the summer with this camp, Global Squad. Like I just want to be there for like the youth growing up. Like I didn't really have nobody to help me train basketball. Like I pretty much trained myself to play the game of basketball. So I would definitely want to be that person that goes back to the youth and teach them what I know, teach younger kids, coach high school basketball, maybe college, just be around the game as much as I can. So give the youth what I know. So that's pretty much what it is.
We thank you very much for coming in and joining us today and discussing a little bit of basketball and how things are going. And we look forward to continuing to watch the team progress through the season and hope to see you guys in some real competitive games down the stretch. Thanks, Jayden.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we'll be back after this quick break on the Tuesday Talk IU Athletics podcast. Welcome back to the Tuesday Talk IU Athletics podcast. Well, we're getting closer to spring sports. Hard to believe that we're almost at that point. Men's lacrosse is supposed to be on for a scrimmage at Widener this Saturday. So, the defending Atlantic East Conference champions are hopeful to be able to get on the field for that scrimmage on Saturday down at Widener at Larry's old stomping grounds down there and get some action in. But they will open on the road on the 14th. We have men's and women's swimming. We'll be heading that weekend down to St. Mary's in Maryland for their championships. So we'll be doing some previews ahead for those coming up, and we're bringing in some different guests in the upcoming weeks. What's your guys' thoughts on the spring sports now? We're in the middle of all the media days right now for spring sports. What's your guys' thoughts on what we got coming ahead in spring?
Busy, busy, busy. That's what we have coming up here. But overall, we did Women's Lacrosse Media Day this past week, and it was fun to see them all they have a lot of good vibes on the team, so hopefully they have a good season. We have baseball coming up this week, so they're always a lot of fun. Vibes seem to be good and everyone seems excited. Looking forward to the spring season, even though we're going to be running around like crazy out there.
It'll be fun getting into spring sports. The early ones where it's still cold out, not so much, but once we can kind of get back into shorts weather and maybe not have to wear a coat, that'd be great. Should be a lot of fun. And obviously some new coaches for the spring as well. Got Kent with men's lacrosse and Alexa with softball. Oh, and Bill for flag football. Got a couple new coaches, and we'll see how these new eras go.
Yeah, obviously good that he was Kent Sonati was here last year as the assistant coach with Will Pilot for the championship team, so he's familiar. And Bill Coddington was the assistant coach with women's flag last year, so at least they're familiar faces. Alexa Peterson is a new coach. She's coming over. She was an assistant in Haverford last year. She was a player at Westchester before that, and a real good player for Westchester, local from Bishop Shanahan. So we're looking forward to having her on board with us this year, and we're looking forward to when we get back out there and seeing how our spring teams do. I know Coach Kopsky's excited about his baseball squad this year going forward, and hopefully, the other sports too. We'll have tennis, men's volleyball will be back in action in a few weeks yet, so they're on a little bit of a schedule break. But we're looking forward to those games as well as the conclusion of the basketball season coming right ahead of us as the stretch drive for those postseason and the Atlantic East Conference tournament, and hopefully we'll be hosting some maybe some tournament games here. Hope you'll join us again next week for the Tuesday Talk IU Athletic podcast as we hit episode 20 next week. Looking forward to having everyone back and see you next week on the Tuesday Talk IU Athletic podcast. And as always, roll Max.